Welcome to the introduction to our 6-part series on how to begin trap shooting. The purpose of this series is, number one, to make it easy for our current customers who have been using USA Friendly to transition to the version 4 software and make it as easy for them to make that transition as possible. And it's the perfect way to introduce the new shooter, the new dry-fire customer who has just purchased a dry-fire system and will start out by learning version 4. So let me lay down the premise of what we're going to be trying to do here in this series of 6 sessions. First, I want to say that the wall width in the room that I'm going to be operating in is 10 feet wide, and I have a 10-foot canvas on the wall. The ceiling height in my room is 8 feet high. The shooter that I'm setting this up for is 5 foot 5 inches tall, and the person's eye height is 60.5 inches from the floor. I'm going to choose to set the unit 50 inches away from the wall and 50 inches above the floor. The shooter is going to be standing back 9 feet from the wall, 108 inches, and this makes the best use of the 10-foot canvas that we have on the wall in front of us. So those are the introductory things so that you know what it is that I'm trying to do. And so now I'm going to proceed forward with step number 1, which is setting up the system configuration screen. So we're going to start here on the basic dry-fire screen, and we're going to go in the upper left here and we're going to click on Setup. Then we're going to make the first choice at the top, left click on System Configuration, and that opens for us the System Configuration dialog box. Now I'm going to ask you to do this to start out with, just so we're all doing the same thing. Come down and click on the Defaults button so that I know that we're all starting from the same set of data, so that one of you doesn't end up with something different when we get to the end. So I'm not going to explain everything that's here. I'm simply going to have you make some changes because I'm interested in this 6 steps to get you through this in as little time as possible so that you can get on to doing some shooting, and then you'll have more opportunity to learn the various intricacies of the dry-fire version 4 software. Let's go up here to the third window on the left, which says Pause Between Targets, and let's go ahead and highlight that and put a 0 in there. Now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to the next one, which is Voice Release Sensitivity. I want you to highlight that and put in 40. In the window just below that, which says Shot Cloud Zoom, I want you to highlight that and put in 100. Now then, let's go to the middle section under Simulator Settings. Go ahead and highlight the cell here that says Shooter to Wall and put in 108 inches. You recall I said we were going to have the shooter standing 9 feet from the wall, 108 inches. Then the simulator to wall, we're going to highlight that and we're going to put in 50 inches. You recall I said we were going to have the simulator 50 inches from the wall. And then we're going to make the simulator height 50 inches. Now both of those dimensions are variable. You can put in what you want as long as you make sure that you put that green dry-fire box where you're telling the software here it's located. Now then we're going to skip on down to the ceiling height, and in the ceiling height I said my ceiling was 8 foot, so I'll put in 96 inches. And now how much wall to the left of the simulator do I have? I'm going to have 60 inches because I have a 10-foot canvas, 5 feet on either side of center, so 60 inches to the left of the simulator and 60 inches to the right of the simulator. And now we're going to proceed on over here to the Program Options area, and I'm simply going to ask you to unclick the first, the second, and the third choices. So nothing is clicked here. Then into the Speech area, I'd like you to go over here and hit the down arrowhead, and let's go ahead and select Silent. And in the Shot Sound area, let's drop down, and this time I'd like you to pick Default V3. Now then, we're going to go to the advanced portion of the system dialog, which we're going to come down and click on Advanced, and that takes us to this portion. And the things I want us to make sure we have the same here is in this top window where mine says 12. If yours doesn't say 12, please put in 12. In the next one where it says laser start position, I'd like you to click the down arrowhead and make sure that launch position is what you have in here. Then we're going to go over to the left. We're going to leave these two options selected. Always use the left, right, and high-low for shot distances, and enable the software rendering. Then coming on down, the next one that you'll likely see clicked down here is use imperial measurements, feet, yards, and inches. That's what we like to use. And then going on over here into the POI display format, I'd like you to click the down arrow there and select ratios instead of percentage. Now the rest of these should be all okay and shouldn't be causing us any problems one way or another. So I'm going to ask you to click the OK button, and then going back to the first portion of the system configuration dialog box, I want you to click OK. And then we're going to be told here that you have changed the room dimensions and you may need to reconfigure any layouts operating in the move around the room mode, and that's something that we'll contend with in one of the steps coming up. So not to worry about it for right now, just go ahead and click on yes. And basically that's it for step number 1. Now I highly encourage you to go on to step number 2, and we'll see you at that point.